Come with me on the trip to the galaxy. Fly high away from misery. Come with me on the trip to the galaxy, but your feet won't leave the ground.
It's about that time, y'all. For the select few that are initiated, just chill. And for those of you that aren't, you do the same. Because what you gotta understand is, we got a vibe to catch. And we right on time this time. It's about that time to just open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. Y'all wanna go? Nah. We're going to Uranus. Fucking with the right one, though. I think you already knew that, right? There's I'm just a horse of a different color. Everything is a vibration, man. You a vibration. As I said before, I'm practically humble. You feel that? There it is. If you fuck around, it's that time to go ahead and put the flame to that motherfucker. And if you don't, I respect you. But this is a whole nother flame, man. What it was, y'all. Y'all already know who it is. And if not, there it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Itself. And this right here, this ain't shit but some cosmic insight, man. And this one we finna talk about right now. It's hard to pin down. It's hard to get a handle on. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta take it from me, because I know firsthand. Because this right here, this a little something about those people that have Uranus in the 3rd house of their natal chart. And we're going to talk about this one this time. Why? Because I have Uranus in the 3rd house of my natal chart. Yeah. And before we actually go there, man, if y'all don't know my style yet, I'm going to put you on. First, I'm going to teach y'all a little bit about Uranus. I'm going to give you a little bit about the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm going to give a little quick breakdown on what the third house of the astrological chart is kind of all about. Then after that, we're going to bring it to a head and pop that motherfucker. Matter of fact, I don't get nothing popping. We're going to get it all the way cracking. Yeah. So anyway, man, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. So for me, Uranus is like the motherfucking cosmic alarm clock and shit, man. And that's because big shocks and surprises are usually in store wherever it shows up in the chart. And it's the planet of triggering events and breakthroughs that we really don't expect and that come at the least expected time, man. And what a lot of people don't really ever tell people is that Uranus is actually the higher octave of Mercury. So it really relates to the genius streak in the mind, man. And, for astrologers, a lot of astrologers that I've dealt with, it's known as the awakener. And that's because of the way that its aspects and its transits bring sudden changes and shocks, And with Saturn and, it kind of co-rules the 11th house of the astrological chart in the sign of Aquarius. And it can really bring fucking brilliant innovation and, sometimes sudden upheaval, which is sometimes a necessary break from the norm. When we're talking about the sign placement of Uranus, though, man, what y'all need to understand is that it stays in the sign for about 7 years. So it's really considered generational in that aspect, meaning that it'll make a similar impression on everybody that was born in that little 7-year time frame. And, we really can't put it in a box because this is Uranus, but that's kind of what it is. Now, when we talk about the house placement, yeah. That's when it gets personal. And that's what we're going to talk about here and how it affects each one of us individually. Because when it comes to house placement, somebody could be born with the same and have it in the same day as you, but if the hours is different, it could probably be different, man. And, when we're talking about the house placement, man, this shows the area of life that you're most prone to, sudden flashes of genius and crazy fucking upheavals and where you might be in store for, for some cosmic surprises, man. And it also might be where you're just different, man. And when we're talking about the aspects, man, it can show where, things might get shook up in your life, man. For instance, man, like you stuck in the job that you fucking hate that's not a part of your spiritual path anyway. And, all of a sudden Uranus come through and, get you fired from that son bitch or, burn that motherfucker down or even tank the whole motherfucking company, man. And now you free. Whatever happened that was crazy and it felt like it was something that was just, horrible turned out to free you. So that's kind of what Uranus has to do. And, at around age 40, that's when transit Uranus is going to be opposite your natal Uranus. And that's like right around the time that people have this, midlife crisis, man. But really, this is when most people break free from the shackles that kept them from fulfilling their true destiny. And so, with this, it's like stay woke or get woke the fuck up. Yeah. And so when we talking about the third house of the astrological chart, man, the third house is ruled by Mercury and Gemini, and it highly symbolizes more than anything else our thinking and our communication style, our writing, any short trips that we might be doing, our younger siblings and our childhood friends, kind of our childhood peers, and pretty much all of our early childhood environment, our household, our neighborhood and things like that, our little city, maybe like that, as well as, whatever powers of analysis and discrimination that we all may possess. Planets in the third house indicate how you communicate and how you operate mentally, okay? And so when we talk about having Uranus in the third house, well, there's a few things I want to say, but the first thing I want you to know, about this one is that the third house is really an excellent placement for Uranus. And that's because, as I said earlier, Mercury is just like, it rules the third house. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. You feel me? And so that's excellent for it, man. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot. Because this is, or maybe it's because this is sheer brilliance, man. These motherfuckers, like myself, possess the ability to take the cosmos and knowledge about life in the universe, far beyond its fucking present state into amazing new fucking levels of insight. Real talk, man. And this placement really suggests an extremely fucking unique way of thinking that expresses itself in everything that these people do, man, especially in how they talk and communicate. And let me put y'all else on something else, man. Uranus is electricity, as I said earlier. It's like electric enlightenment in a way. So get this. Somebody asked me I saw a comment on one of my videos one day. They said, "Oh my God, your voice, it's electric." And then I had somebody else, they were talking shit to me, trolling me. And they were like, "What's wrong with your voice?" And I was like, "Man, that's my voice. Like, what the fuck you mean?" That's Uranus in the third house. That's what that is, man. And with third house Uranus, man, you can expect fucking high intelligence, strong fucking critical thinking, and, eccentric thoughts too, and a fucking wide range of interest, as well as trouble with siblings and trouble with schoolmates because you often feel misunderstood. But at the same time, these are extremely bright people, man, even geniuses in a lot of the cases. And for instance, man, look at Albert Einstein's chart, y'all. Real talk, man. And you'll see Uranus sitting right there in that third house. I see it. And looking further, man, like these are extremely free thinkers that, usually want to question the shit that others so easily accept as true. And that can lead to issues because a lot of motherfuckers be, threatened by somebody who thinks differently than them. And that's issues. And I know firsthand that, when you have Uranus in the third house, man, you think differently than everybody. and that's real, man. And that right there can be both enlightening and empowering, but at the same time, extremely isolating. Extremely isolating. Especially with me, and I'm going to share a little bit with y'all growing up in the type of environment I grew up in growing up, man. Like I'm biracial, man. But at the same time, like, and I was basically a hood cat, but at the same time, like I'm highly intelligent. I love to read. My grandmother, my mother, they're teachers. And I just liked intellectual things. But a lot of times when you in the hood and, you walk up, talking intelligently, like they're gonna start talking shit to you. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned to dumb myself down a lot of the times in life, man. And I shouldn't have. And a lot of that has to do with that Uranus in the third house, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of what life is like for people like us, man. It's a trip too, because this one makes you, a fucking rapid thinker that often, you're the most intelligent person in the room. And that's not me. Like I said, that's not me bragging on myself. This is being real, man. This is Uranus in the third house. What happens is, we notice patterns and more often and more quickly than a lot of people do, man. And the brain makes connections like that, man. And, when you're in school, you probably tested extremely well. And in math, you're probably the type of person that, knew the answer without ever showing your work. And you not being able to show your work sometimes cause issues for you when you go back and have to do something. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how you got to that answer because it was there. You know what I'm saying? This is intuitively guided. You know what I'm saying? And, at the same time, it's just the patterns. It's just the patterns. And that's really what intuition is really all about, is just noticing patterns. And when you start noticing patterns, even in the subtleties of everything, you're like, oh, I know what's coming. And we'll talk about that when we get into Myers-Briggs personality types, but we're not going to get into that right now. And, people who aren't as intellectually gifted as you, or people who can't keep up mentally, they kind of annoy you. And when you're a more empathetic person like myself, it kind of makes you all the more frustrated in them and in self, because, you know, it you feel bad, but at the same time, like, it's frustrating. It works your nerves and you can't do nothing about it. Another thing, you know, when you got Uranus in the third house, man, engaging in fucking small talk is extremely difficult for you, man. You know what I'm saying? You're much more interested in abstract theory than bullshit ass gossip and, you know, everyday shit. You know what I'm saying? And one of my favorite sayings that I made up, I tell my kids and I tell the people I fuck with, like, today's a Monday. And, you know, the first thing I do when I look in the mirror is I'll say, damn, man, I'm not a fan of Mondays or the mundane. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that, you know, helps me think, man. And I heard it. It's not something that I actually made up. It's something I heard somewhere else. But when I heard that, like, it stuck to me. Like, it stuck to me like stank on shit, man. Real talk, man. And, you know, with this placement, you're constantly bombarded with new ideas that aren't necessarily always practical, but they're definitely always original. Always original. And with Uranus, the aspects are of fucking keen of importance, man. Understand that. A well aspected Uranus can make you a motherfucking genius. And that's real. But with challenging aspects, your ideas are more often than not just more bizarre, shocking, you know, mistimed and ill-received. But either way, you often have these sudden realizations that change your entire mindset with this, man. And I know that this motherfucker right here will give you a fucking short attention span too. And ADHD, you know what I'm saying? It's harder to focus because your synapses just fire much more quicker and in much different ways than the people around you. And you're just going to have to learn how to work harder to develop some self-discipline with this if you want to be successful at anything. And lastly, you know, as kids, third house Uranus motherfuckers probably didn't fit into any particular dynamic. They're just different than their fucking peers, man. And I felt like that. And, you know, being biracial and then being smart and then being also tough and also being empathic and, you know, being a male and having a lot of feminine energy, like that's a motherfucker as a kid, man. And, you know, when you have Uranus in the third, you just kind of felt like nobody understood you. And to be honest, you know, most people didn't understand you. How could they? How could they, man? And they have a rough time in the classroom, too, because, you know, you just grasp shit much quicker than everybody else. And then, boom, after you have it, you just in that motherfucker. You just in that motherfucker. And, you know, then you bored. And boredom is your mortal enemy. If you got Uranus in the third house, man, like that's just keeping it true, man. That's keeping it all the way true, man. And you know what I'm saying? When boredom comes, that's when the mischief ensues. And that's when your ass is in trouble. And third house Uranus also indicates a lot of quarrels with your fucking siblings, man. And I know this, man, because I used to give my sister hell, and it was my own fault, man. And also with your peers in school, and I was always fighting too. I was always fighting, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the sign can color it, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the generation I grew up in, man. Like, you fought. And I'm from Texas, man. And you can't be that if you ain't ready to put them things up, man. And I got Vesta and Aries in the 6th house, but we're not talking about me right now. Or maybe we are, because I do have Uranus in the 3rd house. And Sagittarius in the 3rd house for me, man. And, you know, in some cases, this Uranus in the 3rd could suggest a strange upbringing with all kinds of weird or fucking eccentric shit going on, or just that's unconventional or unorthodox, man. And you know, either way, whatever happened, just because you build like that, it don't mean you have to build like that, though, okay? No matter if you take it as good or bad, we all have all this energy available to us in our chart. What you do, it is what you do. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. Okay? Understand that. And that's what it means to be that. Just because you built like that don't mean you have to build like that. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And this has been some priceless knowledge of self. If y'all are interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, man, you need to hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And that also goes for if you'd like to donate to the channel. Those links to how to be able to do that, they're in the description below. You know, I love anybody and I'm going to keep pumping regardless, man. But any donation is loved and appreciated. To the people that have donated, I love you and I appreciate you. I've told you that personally, and there's nothing I can say more about it, okay? Just thank you so much. Hey, man, if you fuck with me on any level, like, share, and subscribe, man. Like, I'm going to keep it pumping. We're going to start a new series tomorrow. We're going to start a new series the day after that. And we're just going to keep it pumping. Keep it bumping. We're going to start a new series later on. We still got 3 more new series to start this week that I just started doing right here, man. Hey, man, I love everybody, man. Stay out the way. Y'all keep it real, because that's all I know how to do. Don't get yourself in nothing you can't get yourself out.